Monday.
This is the special meeting that we had to do the
Okay,
duties
2
thing.
days.
Monday, the 9th of August, 2021, 10 a.m. Called meeting to order. The overview is that Commissioner Robert Guile recused as superintendent candidate. We reviewed the contract, discussed minor revisions. Town manager Margaret requests the final document ASAP. Barry will make changes and provide copy for these minutes and submit the final to Margaret. And we plan to instate the contract mid-month August. Meeting adjourned at 11:05.
Please add at the beginning who was, that you and I were present.
Yes. Barry. Yeager. Chair. Clerk. Do you remember the name of the video operator?
226, pardon me. Room 226.
This one is, we're in room 226?
Yeah,
Do you know the name of the video operator at our last meeting? Was
it was Brittany.
Brittany something or other.
Yeah,
Brittany what?
Blaney Anderson.
that's right, Blaney, B-L-A-N-E-Y, I think it is.
Brittany
Blaney
Anderson.
Anderson.
Hyphenated?
Yep.
Okay.
And she was the videographer. And then,
And the town administrator was here too,
and what's her last name?
also present. Nartowitz, Nartowicz.
Got it. All right.
And this is a copy of the document we agreed to,
Excellent.
and that should be filed with the minutes.
And this one was,
Any other comments? That's the one that you had as a working copy that
right,
day.
so I don't need to
You
include
don't
this.
need to keep that. This is the one that we
Yeah.
agreed on. And that we adopted that. Voted to approve the thing. That's the other thing that needs to be there. That's a copy of that. We'll talk some more about it in a second. Voted to approve 2-0.
Got it.
Any other comment on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll,
Move.
are you in favor of adopting them?
I am.
I am too, so they're approved 2-0. That goes in the new minutes, in today's minutes.
Today is Tuesday. What is today? 20,
No, I
17.
think it's August.
17 August.
I thought it was next week, the meeting.
I did
I
too.
haven't even looked at a calendar.
I did too. I convinced myself, because I hadn't heard from you, that it was next week.
Oh.
And I'm so glad that you called me, because
Well, we
you're just
needed to
that- you're
have
just-
our regular meeting, so
you're just
here
that
we
kind
are.
of guy, and I appreciate you. All right, so.
Okay, we
so-
just did the minutes of the special meeting of earlier in August. We also, the bills came in early this month, and because there was good reason to move them ahead quickly, we had just the bill for burials and the bill from the excavator and the contract person, and one bill for parts for one of the mowers at like $7. That's all we had, so we signed those without a meeting in order that they could be paid. So at this point, we're ready to go ahead with our monthly meeting. Now,
If we paid it, we did that at the previous meeting, right?
no, we did it without a meeting. I prepared the warrant and we signed it.
So those are the July bills.
Those were the July bills, yes.
July bills.
And normally we'd have them at this meeting to do, but since we wanted to get them paid sooner and in sooner, we signed them and did it. And we didn't have any others we were waiting for to come, so I thought we might as well get them paid, so that was done separately. Now this duties as contract cemetery superintendent, we have that completed. We have to add, the town administrator will add the burial duties that are in the current contract to it, and that'll be that. We set that up with, based on a $5,500 annual pay, and that's based on estimated hours for a year. And that will be billed out by the contractor to us at, what is it, $728 a month, $528 a month?
$458.
$458 a month? Okay. Yeah, $458 a month, plus the payments for burials, as they were in the previous contract. And we also can do $25 per hour for special projects, which are pre-approved. The $25 an hour thing is the amount from the town administrator based on other communities. And we have to keep the total pay under $10,000 for the position, or we have to put it out to contract. But I mean, as of right now, the normal thing would be the $5,500 plus about $2,000 in burials, which would be $7,500, so that's well under $10,000. And so I'm not really worried about getting over $10,000 with it, but we do have to be careful about that. And then I put in here, if it's executed in the middle of the month, the stipend would be half. As of right now, there was no select board meeting this week. They're gonna meet next week on, I think it's the 23rd.
Yep,
No, that can't be right.
the 23rd is next Monday.
The 23rd is next Monday?
Yep.
Okay, all right, that's right. And at that point, Margaret's going to report to them on the whole matter, and that she plans to execute that contract so that they're informed of it before she does it. So she plans to execute it sometime after next Monday. So hopefully sometime next week. But we'll see when it comes out, and we'll know. And that's the story of that. Now, we have done the thing for the year as an estimated amount because we need to pay the person some reasonable amount of money every month in order to be available to take calls and do all that stuff. You can't make that into specific hours because
It's not like that.
it's just not like that. You get a telephone call and you might spend an hour dealing with that phone call and the things that come from it, and you might spend 5 minutes and then have to spend half an hour tomorrow doing it. I mean, it's just, you just can't do it by the hour kind of thing. So
Right.
that's why we've set it up that way, and I'm hopeful it will go through normal. So that's the state of that business. As I said a few minutes ago, I have sold the first grave in those, the ones that we approved at the in Road D,
Last meeting.
in the South Cemetery. I've
Yep.
sold the first one of those as a cremations only, and I'm noting cremations only on the thing, and that's something we have to make sure we do when we sell those.
They're strictly cremations.
So that it's written on the thing when people get it. Most of them understand it, know it, but you never know when 10 years from now, somebody's gonna come along and think they're gonna get a full burial there.
Yeah.
So, it's important to have things spelled out that way. A couple of projects I've been working on. One is I've done a new list for the plants that we plant in the spring.
Okay.
And I've actually got a map with a line around the place following the,
Path,
what George used to call a bunny trail.
the bunny trail.
And I've kind of made it, I'm trying to make it into something that's a little more organized and a little easier to deal with. So I've moved that along. And then as another project, my brother David and I, in the hot afternoons last week, came over here in the air conditioning and went through the South Cemetery, the big map, and updated the burials in the big map, the marks on the big map where they're buried.
Oh, the one that's down to south,
Yeah.
hanging on the wall, you guys took it
Yeah.
down?
Yeah, so at some point before too long, I'll have a fresh one of those to put up down there.
Can you just, what did you do? So,
All right, this is a map of the South Cemetery. In fact, it's the big one that we had at the meeting last month. But what I did was update, that has marked on it what graves there's somebody buried in.
Years ago, someone would go in and mark.
Yeah, and the last time it was
Yeah.
updated was 1980. So
That was
what I
good.
was doing was filling in the places where we've had burials since 1980. So there was quite a few to put in. And it's 40, almost 40 years. No,
Over.
just over 40 years. And I had my brother David helping me with that, and that worked out very nicely. And got us cooled off on a hot afternoon.
Nothing wrong with that.
We thought that was a good thing to do on a hot afternoon, and
updating,
the large map
I
of the
got
South
that, I got,
Cemetery.
but you're updating it with
The
burial
burials.
with burial location.
Burial locations, right.
Burial, with burial.
Did you designate if they were ashes, or did you or full?
I have been working on doing that to some degree, yes.
Okay.
And you got from 1980 all the way to current?
Yeah,
Holy cow.
well, it's not that many, but the thing is, you gotta
No,
go
but
through
it's
every lot
awesome.
and check them.
It's awesome.
And we were checking it against the list that I keep myself, which is like yours,
Yeah.
and the book that George had. So I had the two books, and he was reading one, and I was reading the other, and I was doing the map. And, but that made me check a number of other things. So I've got a list of probably 10 lots that I want to go look at again in person on the ground
To see.
and compare them to the records. And I've got a list of a few graves that are available to sell, 4 or 5 more than I had before.
Cool.
And
Because
just-
they fell out of the audit. You
Yeah.
basically audited
Yeah,
the books to
that's
compare
right.
them
And
and
they're
log
things
them.
that we knew about before, but I hadn't put them on a list to actually have handy. And every so often, we're trying to find a grave to sell somebody, so now I've got a couple more. So that was the project that we've done, and in so doing, I found some things in the big book that I'm gonna go through the 2 books together myself again and put in the burials that haven't been recorded. There's half a dozen or something that didn't get put in. So that's another project we got going. There are 2 things that I've got on my mind in a big way right now, and that is the business with David Ross on
North Cemetery.
measuring up the front field of the North Cemetery, which we discussed it at length at our last meeting. And we need to go ahead with that. I think that what we want him to do is put in markers or stakes that we can put in markers on the corners of each row,
Yep.
each double row, and then at a point in the middle of each double row, so that we have those 6 points that we can measure from
To lay out for
to lay
barriers.
anything out that we need to.
So you're gonna put it on the outside and the outside,
Yeah,
and then the outside, and
Yeah.
the middle, you just measure in 8 feet and
Yeah.
line the stones up.
and I want to make a note, I want the distances, remind me of the distances that we have to have. The graves are 40 inches wide.
40 inches wide, and they're 8 feet. You dig them 40 by 8 feet.
By 8 feet,
Yeah, you have, because the vault is 7.5 feet.
and that's the size of the actual burial space. But we figured that the total of the grave is about 11 feet, including the monument space.
You figure about a foot for the monument,
Yeah,
and then 6 inches to a foot for the between, and then 8 feet. So
is
you're
it
talking
2 feet between the monument?
2 feet in the
rows?
back.
So 1 foot of it goes with each row.
Yep. So it would be 11 feet.
So that would be 11 feet
Yeah, roughly 11 feet.
total. And how wide are the drives?
Well, I think I was figuring them like down the south at 8 feet, but I'd have to remeasure them again. But with the new equipment, everything new is so big, it just, I don't know if we go further out, if the driveway should be increased in size. Because I think I set them at 8 feet. Because I did them like down the south, but everything is so big today. Everything, all the trucks that come with it, everything is just so big.
Yeah, that's really a problem for us. Because things that we thought we were providing enough space for, it gets a lot harder when.
It's tight when someone comes in with a big truck with a vault, and the 1 tons, even the 1 tons are big. They're wide, they're a lot bigger than they used to be.
Are
Double
these,
wheels.
are the drives there the same size as the ones in the back part?
The back is kind of up at north.
Yeah.
Some of those rows are so tiny, and I don't think they were,
Some of those drives aren't 8 feet.
no, they weren't paid attention to too well.
8 feet isn't really wide enough for a drive now.
I mean, you can get down with the truck between on the back, but it's tight. You're usually running over a flat stone. So 8 feet is, like I said, it's really tight. Probably you should, further out, go to 10 feet.
We gotta go 10 feet.
I think so, 9 or 10 feet.
So beyond row,
4. Between 3 and 4, there's a grass driveway.
yeah,
So then it would be
so you got 4 and 5.
between 5 and 6 is where
So between 5 and 6,
you need to go to 10 feet.
5 and 6, 10 feet, and rest. Okay, but we kinda gotta stick with 8 feet on the ones we've already buried people in.
Yep.
Okay. I'll work on that, and I'll work on, you'll remember at the last meeting, I had that one that I'd marked up some, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
use this stuff to mark one up a little bit more carefully and see where we come to with it. But that's really important for us to deal with. And secondly, I have an email from Curtis about getting their monument in.
Oh, yeah.
And I have requested a phone number so I can call her and talk to her about it. because I need to explain to her what our situation is.
Yeah.
And we have a vault that was buried a little bit in the wrong place, and we need to move it about 3 feet. So we have talked to the funeral director about it.
Yeah.
We have talked to our excavator about it.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, I think we can do it with just those people involved when we're not planning to open the vault.
Yeah.
The vault will not be opened. We're just going to slide the vault over 3 feet so that it's in the right place.
Yeah, because when Marilyn McCrory's son, she moved him, Brendan, all there was the vault company and the undertaker came with the vault company because they stayed all in one piece. Same thing with,
Did they have any paperwork with that?
I don't remember.
I would think they'd have to have paperwork, because that was moving the remains from one cemetery to another. We're not even changing the grave, we're just sliding it a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's into the driveway.
Because it did go, George was still doing,
Yeah,
so he would have, and the undertaker was Phil Short from Marlboro.
what?
The undertaker, for Flaherty, for
Slattery.
Brendan.
Oh, for Flaherty.
For
Okay,
Flaherty.
For Flaherty, it was short.
Phil Short.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't, well, George may have had paperwork on it, I don't know.
Yeah. So I think he's listed, I think he got listed in the,
Can you just say this person's name again? I forgot.
which person?
We're talking about moving whom?
Richard Curtis.
Thank you.
Philistine. Ferguson. Field. Jameson. No, Field. Flaherty. Yup, there was paperwork on that.
That looks like my writing too.
Oh,
Lo and
somebody
behold.
must have forged it, because you didn't remember.
I didn't remember. Well, I admit I didn't remember.
Yeah.
That's my writing.
And it says disposition at North Cemetery, so probably, the death certificate was from, oh, that was his residence. The death certificate was from Marlboro.
He was buried in Marlboro.
He had previously been buried in Marlboro, but they had to do a new transportation permit because they were moving.
Why are we discussing, is Flaherty? What did you say?
Well,
Flaherty?
this was somebody that was previously buried in a Marlboro cemetery, and the family had him moved to Berlin where the rest of the family was moved.
So that was another kind of moving.
Yeah, but that was a case where they actually were taking full remains from out of the ground in one cemetery and moving it to another town.
Right.
So they did have to have paperwork for that. But I don't think we're not even actually changing the grave, we're just sliding it over a little bit.
Right.
I don't think we're gonna have
Next
to.
to Billy Turbo. That's my writing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is our new file of
Just look up the number.
papers, and I've got it alphabetical by people's last names.
Yep.
Very
And
nice.
as we put more in, we may end up with more file folders.
Oh,
but-
absolutely.
Rock
But
and roll.
by doing that, when you want to look up somebody, you can find it.
The name, yeah, you go by their last name.
Is our videographer falling asleep?
Not yet.
We're doing our best.
I just gotta listen to the audio.
I saw you looking a little peaked over there.
It's my second shift today. I work in the morning.
Ah.
So,
Okay,
Good job, man. Carry on. Okay, so paperwork not needed because it's
because
just
we're
a
not
slide.
changing the grave, we're not,
Yeah.
we're not,
It's not being transported, it's
no,
not
we're
leaving.
not moving the whole business out of town or something. But, we need to make that one happen. And get that one out of the way. We talked about it a month ago, but we didn't want to move it ahead at that time because the ground was so wet from all that rain in
Oh.
July. And we wanted to wait till the ground dug out, because that's the kind of a time when you'd have a cave-in or something if you,
Oh, yeah.
they dug this out and we're trying to do it and with it all wet like that.
Makes it harder to take it out because of suction.
Yeah, everything would be harder. By now, it should be dried out enough to do that, I would think. So that one is a project we need to get done. And other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape. I don't know, what else do we have? Do we have other things to be concerned about right now?
I noticed that someone has pruned away the mulberry, the renegade mulberry tree from
By the fountain.
by the fountain, which is awesome. Was that you?
No.
No,
So that was the cemetery.
yeah, no, that was the highway.
But, I mean, the
But
highway.
It had been talked about.
Yeah, yeah, so that's awesome because Margaret said that she was gonna address that and I didn't know,
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk, maybe I guess, talk to her about it.
Yeah,
I would like to flag the trees that are coming up in the bushes by the tomb on the corner of Pleasant and Sawyer.
Yeah.
There's just, some trees that
Oh,
don't belong.
the ash trees.
Yeah. So do we have some
Yeah, I do.
tape?
Oh,
Something
can
that
find
we,
some tape.
yeah, something we could, I mean, I can just do it.
Yeah, there's the, mostly it's those ash trees, those two
Yeah.
big ash trees.
Yeah, they need to
They're
get
bigger,
out.
Bigger ash trees.
Yeah, they were little when we first talked about it. He wouldn't help us, so, yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
getting there.
yeah,
They
they
need
need
to
to
come
get
out.
out.
we also have some plantings on lots that are
Right.
overrun
Overrun.
bushes that are going to be taken out, and we're gonna see to getting that done, having that, I think they'll do those for us.
Yeah.
In fact, I know they're kind of
Hot. Some of
desirous
them-
of getting rid of some of them
Some of
themselves.
them are hot.
Yeah. But I wanna review that with you on site, Bob,
Okay.
which ones that we know somebody's paying attention to.
Yep.
Make sure we don't hack away at any that.
Something that's belongs to somebody that actually pays attention to it.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
But if they're not paying attention to it and it's going off the lot, they're going into the driveway in a couple of cases and stuff, it's
Right.
time to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's
Get
get
out.
rid of them.
And some there's been nobody around for 100 years. The
Oh,
family.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So, we'll get those. We'll
Nobody
try
that
to
we
get
can
those
see,
done. Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Heidi, I know Heidi Hanna has, she has on her father's lot, there's a huge bush there. There's stones underneath it.
there are, someplace I think I've got a phone number for her.
Yeah. 'cause-
If I can, I'll call her up. She's out in the middle of the country.
Yeah, no, I may have contact.
Yeah, you may have one for
and
her
Rick-
too, yeah.
Tim does too, so between
Yeah,
the three
Tim
of
does.
us,
Tim, I know Tim does.
I would be happy to have that conversation with
'cause
her.
I think one of them's her grandmother or something, because
Yeah,
she was looking for it one day and I crawled underneath the bush and cleaned it and read it to her and stuff. And
Yeah.
so the ash trees in the ash
South Cemetery.
trees, well, this is all south, right? Oh, this whole.
It's in south.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ash trees in the spirea. And, overgrown shrubs. You getting me some names? No, oh, you're looking for Heidi.
I don't have the good index with me. I don't have it right
This
here.
one's not updated.
No, it is just
There. Huh? What's
Oh,
that?
here it is, here, 408 West.
Norbert.
408 West. No, it's in her mother's name, actually, because
He was dead.
he was dead.
He got killed, hit by a car, didn't he, or something, or a car accident or something?
He had a horrible, he was working in New Jersey during the week, and he was driving down, and he left early in the morning in the winter with snow and ice, and on the southwest cutoff and down in Charlton, the truck comes over the hill and jackknifed and took the top off of his Volkswagen.
Oh, boy. And everything else.
Horrible thing, 1957. Jesus. And that's lot number 408.
Yeah.
And it was the lot was transferred to Mrs. Victor Hanna, and then Victor and Marie were buried there. I don't know whether that was his, that might have been his parents. And perpetual care came from Ruth Sylvester. I don't know who that is, though. But anyway,
Paid.
yeah, I got some. And,
Sylvester is familiar
but
to
it
me.
sounds like Heidi doesn't own it. Whether she's got any rights to it, I don't know.
Ruth.
We're gonna look at that, and I don't know if we need to call her. Because this would say somebody else has control of the lot.
And who knows if they're even around.
Yeah. Somebody in Winchester. Well, it looks like the person it was transferred to in '69 was buried there in '86.
Okay. But there's still two empty
But then
graves.
somebody else, yeah, there's still 2 empty graves there. Then there's somebody else that's listed here too, and I don't know who that is, so. Although maybe talking to Heidi, we might try that
It's
too.
probably a good idea to talk to Heidi.
She might know
More about it.
She'll know
She'll
more
know more
about
about it, and if you explain to her that the bushes have gone wild and
it. Yeah.
they need
Can
to
we
be,
take them out?
they need to be, they're not good looking.
Yeah.
And let's talk about putting a tree peony in instead.
Putting
A
what?
tree peony.
Uh,
I'm all in favor.
I like to recommend things that die to the ground every year.
Well, that's what they do.
Oh, they do?
But yeah, it's just a stick, but it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it goes back to the ground every year and it comes
Well,
up again.
not
pretty much.
quite down to the ground, but it's
Yeah.
not like, it's not like.
It's
an
not like a
outrageous-
woody plant.
It's a little bit woody, but
Right,
it's
it's
just
not.
tiny. It's
Yeah.
just, it kind of like a stick that
Yeah.
with no leaves on it, and
Yeah.
then but they're not. They never get
Big.
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 They never get big.
Yeah.
I have a friend that had one in front of their Victorian house in Worcester for 20 or 30 years, and the thing, 20 or 30 years later, the thing was just a stick that was like from one end of
Yeah.
the table to me. It's just like this little thing.
Yeah.
It never grew into,
Yeah, a
like
big
a
thing.
U.
Yeah. We need to, one of the things we need to long-term do is work on a list of good recommended things for people to plant.
I just gave you one.
And you just gave us one. But perennials that,
Right.
and all that, but
Right.
that don't get overgrown and big and
Well, and they
impossible.
also don't invade. They're not invasive.
You need
They-
native
Yeah.
plant.
Well, not so much.
native-
I don't mean. I shouldn't say they don't. They don't just wander around and plant themselves all over the
Yeah.
whole. You want
Yeah.
something that tends to stay in its
Where it
place.
is, yeah.
Yeah, not like burning bush or multifloral rose.
Yeah, no, we don't want any of that stuff. But there's some roses that you could plant that wouldn't wander all over the place, and then there's some roses that
You will not plant.
you will not plant.
Yeah.
you know, you don't want a rambling rose, that would be a bad idea.
Yes, it would.
But a tea rose would be perfectly acceptable if somebody was gonna come in and tend it all the time.
Well, that's,
Well, yeah,
that's,
Yeah,
part of the thing is, will somebody tend it? And if there's gonna be nobody around to tend it,
right.
then
Well,
that needs to be part of a
the one that the
consideration.
gardeners all like right now, I believe, is cause of Carefree Rose.
Mhm.
And it's, you know, it's small and it stays, it mounds.
Yeah,
And it doesn't wander. It's just, it's kind of compact little ball and, you know.
well,
I've never seen any of them any bigger than, oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet. I've just never seen one get any bigger than this.
mhm,
And they're everywhere. People love them.
mhm.
Now, that, it might kind of eventually, but
Get a
it's
little
never
wider.
gonna, it's never gonna do what a
Regular rose.
regular rose will do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's.
Okay,
So-
I don't know what else we've got this month, do you? Have other concerns? I've observed we've sold quite a few things of late
Cool.
over the past year. And, but we're also getting a clearer picture of what's, might be available to sell in some cases too.
driveways? The driveways?
Oh, the driveways. Um,
Are they grinding out here now? Are they working out here now? I thought they were,
Yeah, it's coming, but.
started the paving.
Apparently they've let some kind of a contract, but the work isn't yet scheduled or something. I don't know, something strange about it.
Well, a lot of those guys you schedule work.
Oh God,
and-
what did I just had. I'm trying to remember whether I talked to the town administrator about it. Because we do want to press to get these driveways done. We've got money and we need to do it. Or did I talk to Jim about it when I saw him?
Thought you said you talked to him about it. I thought you said you talked to him about it, Jim.
Yeah, I guess I did talk to him about it. But we've got to figure out when they can, you know, how they can do it.
It's gotta go out to bid. Or are they gonna,
Yes, and it will probably be done in combination with some other work,
man, that's
and
fine.
I don't know just what work. When they were doing the original thing on this thing outside, it was too soon for us to do it. But now, it can be done anytime. We need to get it accomplished and do the things that are necessary to make that happen. So we will try to talk to the administrator and the highway people and whoever else we do to try to move that along. Yeah, I think I did talk to Jim about it, because I was talking about the part we want to do now,
Yeah,
and the fact that we want to be prepared the next year to do some in North, get the beginning of that road done. Which out near the street gets a lot of wear, because we have a school bus that turns around and different things like that.
it's 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
So the first part of the driveways is working on south and then move
Yeah,
on to
south, yeah.
finish,
yeah.
finish south. Yeah, we're running out of season, kids. Need to get this rolling.
Yeah, pretty soon the snow shovel will be up.
Shut up. And then begin north next year.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Neither am
You
I.
could get to about the second week in October and stop, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Absolutely, like that for 3 months would be fine.
all right.
Well, I have one that's all marked up that it's home, and I have several other maps, but they're all at home, but none of them are decent that are here. We did the first part of the main drive already. You don't have to write this down, we've talked about it enough before. We've done the right-hand drive out to the crossing. We've done from the crossing part way across here. We need to finish the center drive back to the crossing and tie to this. We need to go back to the building,
Yeah,
and we need to go this cross drive the rest of the way up to this end.
yeah,
And that's the part we're trying to get done now, to where it needs maintenance and where we need to relate to the stuff that we already did. And then we can leave south for a while and go work on the main road down in the north, so we have
Yeah.
a decent drive in the north. That's next year.
so the crossing and the left side?
We'll finish the cross drive to the north end,
Yeah,
and the
And-
center drive from where we left off back to the area where to the corner by the building.
and the right side is good to there. We're not.
The right
are we
side,
tying- are
part
we-
of the right side has already been done, and what's left at the south end is fine for now.
So we don't need to tie,
don't.
we don't need to tie to the right side yet?
No,
Okay, so.
no, we will be tying this to the right side.
Well, but we're gonna leave that till next year? That'll be the last piece?
No,
No.
that's this time.
Okay, so, and tie to the right side,
Yeah, tie to the right
Tie.
side that we already did.
to,
Um,
got it.
But that was already planned before we went to town meeting this year. 'Cause I had the map with that all on it that I was
Right,
showing
right,
the
right.
people at
Yep,
town
yep,
meeting.
yep. So, for north, you're gonna do the main driveway?
North is to do the main driveway,
Yep,
and wide enough for 2 cars to pass. And that's gonna be wider than it is now, but it's needed.
yep.
And
If nothing else, just so people can park on one side and somebody can keep.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, so they don't have to park on the grass all the
Right.
time if they're in there.
yep,
We also we'll work on the plan for drives at the North Cemetery further so that we can start planning ahead for that, because by the time we do budget stuff this fall, we need to be able to show them what our ultimate goal is in the North Cemetery for
Have
paving,
a plan on
so
paper.
that the capital planning committee and the finance committee will be in on that part. I mean, we've already got a pretty good idea of it, but
Yeah,
we need to get it so that we've got
Down
it
on
on
a piece of
paper for
paper.
them. So they can see where we're headed, and we can begin to figure out how many more years we need money
Yeah.
for it to get that done. So that's another thing to be doing. And that comes up, I don't know, November or something for that,
budget,
for the
capital plan.
capital planning.
I thought it was sooner than that.
Hmm?
I thought it was sooner than that.
No, I think it's November 1st for capital planning, and December 1st for
Budget.
budget. But I will check that, because we need to be aware of it, make sure we don't get caught short again. Are there other matters?
woo, woo, somebody would like a loaf of bread?
That's lovely.
Oh,
Why aren't you eating it?
I can't,
Hmm?
I'm allergic to Roundup. Can't eat it. Would you like it?
There's Roundup in it?
There's
There's
Roundup.
Roundup in
There's
it?
Roundup in everything that isn't internationally certified, organic, or gluten-free.
Oh. Okay, that's nice.
Every green product in the United States. Thank Congress. Thank those bastards in Washington.
Oh, I can eat all my bread. Is there a motion to adjourn?
There is a
yes.
motion.
A second.
Motion is made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 3 in favor. The meeting is finished.
I can't write that fast. Made.
Sometimes that's the easiest thing you do for minutes.
Seconded. All in favor? Whoops, voted.
No, voted 3-0.
All right, I had hoped to have a conversation about